friends, to another Creative Cutter Room video. Today I'm going to be making a Copic colored card. I've done another image that I've Copic colored. It's just a coloring book page that I got from the web. I'm using my 6x6 paper pad from Paradise Beach. You've seen me do a couple cards with this already. I love the paper in this. The colors are beautiful. They really remind me of visiting a beach in California or Hawaii or wherever you might be visiting a beach this summer. This is a really beautiful collection, so I hope you'll check that out. So the papers that I've selected from that collection are this aqua one. It's on the back side of an orange one, and the orange one that I've cut apart there, let me see if I can find the original here, looks like this, and here at the bottom it has a little sentiment that says live in the sunshine. So what I did was I went ahead and I fussy cut that apart and I added some foam dots, and that's going to be my sentiment on this card. I'm making this card for my mother-in-law, whose birthday is today, and we also visited her in California recently, so I'm sending this more as a thank you, but also to wish her a happy birthday, and I hope she'll like it. So I went ahead and used my Paper Layers ruler, and if you have not seen this ruler, it comes with a collection of 3 rulers. They have different sizes here on the edge that help you trim your paper perfectly. If you can see the border around that, and you can also see it on this one. What you do is you cut a piece of paper and you glue it down to the back piece that you want to trim down, and this one's already been done. But basically, once you put that on any sheet of paper, these have little ledges that catch, and so if I wanted to do an eighth of an inch border all around that, I would put that edge down, catch it to the edge of the center piece of paper, and then that would cut the outside frame so that you have a perfectly centered piece of paper or matting for your photo or for a matte layer like I've done here. So that's what I've done for this one. I'm just going to add some glue now to add that to my card. And of course, if you're making this at home and not on a video, you take more time to glue that down a little better. And for the edges, if you wanted to distress, I've been using frayed burlap today, so I'm just going to take a little frayed burlap and do the brown here. And I went ahead and already matted my stripe sheet down to a piece of brown, and I'm thinking this one's going to go about there. I also took a piece of red, which is the back side of the striped. This was a leftover piece, and I border punched that with a Martha Stewart punch. And I'm just going to take a simple piece of seam binding, couldn't remember what that was for a minute, and wrap that here in the middle. Now I'm just going to use a piece of tape to hold this down. And maybe I'll use a piece of glue on this end. Okay, so I'm just going to use that. I'm thinking about there. We'll be playing with this a little bit. Now the image that I've colored is this little beach girl, and again, this is just some free clip art that I downloaded off of the web. I think I typed in beach girl, and this is one of the ones that came up. And I used colors that would match that striped piece. I don't know if you can see how well that matches. She was really fun, and it was a good way for me to practice some blending here with the water and the sand. I'm not happy with how her skin turned out. I was trying to make her look a little sunburnt, and this is my first time doing blonde hair. But it was a lot of fun to do, and again, the more you practice, the better you get with Copic coloring. So I hope you like it. I think my mother-in-law will like it. And so the only thing I did for this is I took the square piece, obviously, that I printed here, and I simply trimmed around her hat part, but left this pretty much square. And that's just so that I could get some of that fun paper showing in the background. Now before I mount that down, I want to show you real quick my bow maker. Some of you have been asking me if you can do some double bows, and if you want more information on my bow maker, then watch the video that's on the sidebar of my website. But I'm just going to take about 24 inches of that same seam binding, and I'm going to make a double bow for this card. So I start basically like I do to tie a regular bow by holding it here against one clip, but then rather than going front here, I'm going to go behind and I'm going to make a figure 8. So there's my first figure 8. I'm going to go behind, and then there's my second figure 8. So once you've got 2 bows on each side, you're going to continue the process like the regular bow and come from underneath over the top, and then again I switch hands, and then I'm going to tuck this tail up through the hole, and again I'm going to do that wiggling motion to center my knot. So once you do that, I just pull the pegs off, slide that aside, and you can see here that I've got a double bow. Okay, so I'm going to fluff that up, and after I attach this card, we're going to see that go on the edge here. Okay, so before I do my final assembly, I'm going to be adding some foam tape here to the back of the image, and that's just to give her a little bit of a lift, not too much because this card is going to be mailed, and so I want to be sure that the envelope or whatever doesn't get completely torn up. So I'm going to set her aside for a minute, and then with these pieces, this is my card base, so I just mounted some striped, I know it's hard to see here, to some brown cardstock for my card base, and then I'm going to take the striped piece and I'm going to adhere this a little bit towards the top here. Now I might add some fun orange brads there. I'm not sure yet. We'll try this out. And this red piece that I border punched, I want to add behind about where her hairline is. So I'm going to place that first. Be sure I have a good spot for that. Get this. Okay. Check that again here. So it has been so fun this summer to get out to the beach with the kids, and my mother-in-law was sweet enough to plan all of our activities when we were in California, and the kids had a wonderful time. Okay, so I'm going to attach her right there. So let me lift that up so you can see. So that the seam binding right there is just basically to show the depth of her on the card there, and I think it's a pretty neat thing. I'm going to take my double bow that I just created and get my hot glue gun going, and I'm going to attach that right off of that edge right there. So it almost looks, well, I was thinking about doing it on her hat, but I think no, I think it'll go right here. So it sits just behind her hat. And I'm going to do that again with glue gun, just because I want to make sure in the mailing that it does go safely and doesn't come off in the mailing process. So there's my fun double bow, and I may add a stick pin to that, and like I said, a couple of brads at the top. I'm going to trim those tails on that. Leave them a little bit long because I think it looks a little fun. And then that's what I've got so far. And then the sentiment I did put up on some foam squares, and I'm going to just add that to the bottom. I will be finishing off the inside of the card, and I'll show a picture of that on my website. This Live in the Sunshine is just going to go right along that bottom. So there's my finished card. Hope you enjoyed this video, and stop by my website and leave a comment, www.creativecutterroom.com, for some more scrapbooking, card making, and Cricut fun. Thanks for watching.